UFC Paris just recently wrapped up, and I'm going to recap the entire card. It was honestly a really stellar event, and I feel like the Paris crowd right now might be the top MMA crowd in the entire sport. It was another epic show. They went for the first time last year, and this card was even better. Way more of a banger, and I'm excited to talk about all the fights, so make sure you guys smash the likes, and if you're new to the channel, subscribe. Let's start with the first fight of the night. We had Joselyne Cavalcanti versus Zarah Fairn. Joselyne Cavalcanti was able to outstrike Fairn in this matchup by pretty significant amount. Not great accuracy by Fairn throughout the whole thing. Cavalcanti was definitely way slicker. She found good straight shots through the guard. She touched up the legs of Fairn. My problem with Zarah Fairn, too, is the fact that she's like throwing these out-of-range punches consistently. She's really not committing to sitting on these strikes. And Cavalcanti, obviously, technically superior, more accurate, picked her apart for 3 rounds. Towards the end of the fight, Fairn is looking to take Joselyne down, trying to mix it up with like 40 seconds left. She should have been changing the game plan midway through the fight, maybe halfway into the second round. She was outstruck the whole time. It was a clean win for Joselyne Cavalcanti. I've heard Cavalcanti and Cavalcanti, but either way, good win in her UFC debut. She gets the victory. She beats Zarah Fairn. So good performance by Cavalcanti. I think that she's got good abilities. 140 catch weight. I'm assuming she'll have no issues making bantamweight. I'm excited to see some more matches against some more well-versed skill set of fighters as opposed to Fairn, who's, kind of athletic and awkward. Never won in the UFC, 0-4 in the Octagon, 39. She's French, but she's probably on her way out. Wouldn't be surprised if she's cut from the UFC, being Zarah Fairn. Next fight on the card, Farid Basharat versus Kleydson Rodrigues. How good is Farid Basharat? That's what I'm starting to wonder. Because Kleydson Rodrigues is scary. In the first opening exchange, essentially, Kleydson Rodrigues lands a decent high kick on Farid Basharat. Now, obviously, there were some scrambles on the ground. Basharat shown to have a pretty menacing top game and very well-timed takedowns. Kleydson Rodrigues is no slouch on the floor. He's not an easy guy to take down and just bully like that. And Basharat, when he really secured, I believe it was the second takedown, it was game, set, match. Kleydson Rodrigues flattened out, arm triangled, squeezed to hell, and taps out. I'm impressed with Farid Basharat's game because I know he has a very competent kickboxing skill set, but he also has incredibly well-timed takedowns, serious top pressure. He's sophisticated with his onslaught, though. He doesn't go crazy trying to get you out of there. He looks for the openings and spots. If he has to grind out a decision, I mean, he did it against a very good fighter in Damon Blackshear in his debut. This matchup here, the submission opened up, first round sub. Overly impressed with Basharat. I'll say this, okay? I think for Kleydson Rodrigues, we don't cut him from the UFC. I feel like you got to keep him around. Don't let go of him. Because I see some explosive striking and things that I really like. I just think he ran into somebody that is special. Somebody that's on the come up as a prospect that's going to be working towards the rankings. That type of 26-year-old. Rodrigues should stick around. I don't think they're going to release him, though, like especially with him, being 1-2 in the Octagon. I think he can do some damage to some bantamweights. His edge that he had physicality-wise at flyweight is obviously gone up a weight class here at bantamweight, but I still think he can get some W's in the UFC. And that high kick early got me excited. Kleidson's a dangerous dude from shoot their box still. Farid Basharat is just next up. He looks incredible. Him and his brother both. Farid might be the better one. Farid might be. Great win for him. Farid Basharat, huge appearance in his sophomore UFC appearance. Huge win. Next one was Nora Cornolle and Joselyne Edwards. A controversial decision. I think that the scores in France were written beforehand. Because 30-27 is impossible. Edwards dominated the second round. So if you want to say 29-28 for Cornolle, I'll say I disagree. I thought Edwards won the fight. but I don't think it would be impossible to see that. Because Cornolle still had some striking moments and success in the third round. Though I thought Edwards' takedowns and control were more, I thought that she deserved the second and third round. I thought she was the winner of the fight when it all wrapped up. But the problem with Joselyne Edwards is she's known for being razor thin close in her fights with opponents. And in her last couple, she's gotten the split decision, doesn't get it here. Cornolle wins. But it wasn't 30-27. That's 30-27 is highway robbery. And the fact that 2 of the 3 judges scored it 30-27, French fighter in France, that was suspect to me. Suspect decision. I know people in the comments will agree. Watching this, guys, if you're, an avid fan and you're watching every prelim like I am and you watch this fight, let me know in the comments how you scored it, which rounds for who. And are there any people that thought that Cornolle was the rightful winner? Please let me know in the comments. I'm curious what you guys are saying because I'll be checking the comments for sure. I thought Joselyne Edwards won. She doesn't win. Nora Cornolle gets it done. Women's fight, coin flip matchup. Edwards should have got it on the cards. 30-27 is atrocious and makes 0 sense. You can't say just Cornolle, I believe, getting the back position towards the very end of the second negates all of the work that Joselyne Edwards did previously to that. That was Joselyne Edwards' fight. She should have won it, but you know what? She got some competitive nods that were splits that could have went the other way. I guess it's about time that the luck goes towards the other side. Cornolle, not a horrible performance, though. I mean, she's still decent debut in the UFC. I'm curious what's next. I mean, she just beat Joselyne Edwards, regardless of what I think and what everybody watching thinks. The official judges gave it to her. I'm curious how she does moving up the ladder because I think she's going to be on her back a lot if they give her capable grapplers. Because I know Joselyne Edwards primarily is more so striking, but has okay grappling for sure, but not top tier. Cornolle with the W. I disagree, though. Next fight on the card, it's Ange Loosa versus Rhys McKee. Ange Loosa nearly got McKee out in the first round. But then there was kind of a momentum shift towards the end of the first round and even entering the second round with McKee cracking him with good shots. There were multiple instances in this fight where it looked like Loosa was going to get a knockout. It looked like the fight was going to be over. But McKee is tough as they come. The dude absorbed some bombs on the face, leaking blood. He was leaking blood after the early exchanges in the first round where he was nearly knocked out. What Loosa did that was so beautiful to me is he fought an intelligent game. He wasn't able to get the knockout, so he would also mix in the grappling. He's very physically strong. He has nice takedowns. What was crazy about this fight, though, is the fact that McKee absolutely destroyed the side of Ange Loosa's face towards the very end. McKee was getting some beautiful strikes off late. He was all over Loosa, caught him with a fucking jumping knee towards the end. The best moments for McKee in that whole fight, like the last 45 seconds. Because he was hurting Loosa. Loosa still got the nod. He won the fight. It was clearly his. He had won the first 2. He had won the majority of the third. He was the deserving winner. For McKee, though, a performance like that, even in loss, it was a tremendous fight. I think that keeps you on the roster, which that's what McKee wants. He needs to stay on this roster. Loosa, though, he's moving up the ranks, man. I'm excited for more with Ange Loosa. I really like watching him work, man. He's at Killcliff FC, and you can see the improvements. Great performance by Ange. Next fight on the card was the featured prelim of the night. It was Taylor Lapilus versus Caolán Loughran. Listen, Loughran's a shit-talking savage, throwing his fingers up, throughout the week, shitting on French MMA. Taylor Lapilus was the more proficient MMA fighter. On the feet, Lapilus was clearly superior. He was a much slicker kickboxer. He landed plenty of jabs and straights down the line. He was quick with his legs as well. In the second round, Loughran did get some good grappling control time, though. He was able to get on top of Lapilus a bit and threaten him on the ground. But when they were standing, Loughran had nothing for him. When they got to the ground, Loughran could get top, control a bit, but not garner any type of damage or true dominance. He was winning moments. Lapilus, to me, definitely got the first and the third round. He was the rightful winner. He touched up Loughran a bit and, cut his nose, made him bleed. I'm hearing the last name Loughran. I'm hearing Loughran. I'm going to try to call him Loughran, but just by habit, I'll probably be calling him Loughran every other time I do it. Lapilus with a clean W. Great to see him come back to the UFC. The crowd pop was crazy for him. So obviously he's like a, French prospect / contender to watch. Aries FC champion. And now getting a win in his UFC return. After leaving the promotion undefeated years ago, I was impressed. I like what I saw from Lapilus, and I'm looking forward to watching him work inside of the UFC. He's got some great striking. His grappling defense is solid. Leon Edwards-esque, like the commentary said. He fights the wrists and hands well when opponents are looking to grab a hold of him. So very impressed with Lapilus. Great performance. And Loughran will be back, though. He's got a good persona, good vibe. Easier matchups for him. This was way too much of a jump, right? He was 8-1 to fight an 18-3 fighter, or 8-0 to fight an 18-3 fighter who's now 19-3. Way too high of a jump. Main card opener. If you guys haven't yet, make sure you smash that like button. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. It's Morgan Charriere defeating Manolo Zecchini in the first round. It was body kicks. It was a teep that started it off, and then a nasty left body kick, I believe, that put Zecchini down. And it was over with when he was grabbing that stomach. On the feet, what you were noticing as the fight was progressing is that Charriere was more accurate, he was slicker, he was technically better, but he was also more explosive and faster. Zecchini's a guy that does rely on the toughness a bit and opponents who are willing to engage him in brawls. Charriere was just outgunning him the entire time. It was a sick first round finish, man. Charriere's hype built well from that performance. At 145, he's a fun French prospect to keep an eye on. And what I do love about him is the fact that the dude has 30 pro fights already. This was his 30th pro fight. He's 27 years old. He's fought the who's who through Cage Warriors. He's been around the MMA scene for a long time, garnering a shit ton of experience. And now winning the debut against Manolo Zecchini, it was a quality performance. Now, he was a huge favorite, and many people thought he would win. But the fact that he got Zecchini out of there in the first round and put that ass whooping on him like that, I was impressed with Charriere. I like his game. I like his style. I like that he's doing social media and building his brand elsewhere. I think he's a fun addition to the UFC roster. And I look forward to what's next. I don't think we're releasing Zecchini, though. The Italian will be back. But damn, man, there's some things that lack. He doesn't have a ton of sting on his shots. He loops a lot of punches. His elbows are kind of flared out a bit. I see him as hittable down the center line. Yeah, it wasn't great. It was a great performance for Charriere. For Zecchini, wasn't a great look. The Italian got fucked up out there. Next fight on the card was William Gomis and Yanis Ghemmouri. This fight is not without controversy, right? Because Gomis was winning the whole fight, and then there was a questionable low blow that landed on Yanis Ghemmouri in that third round where the referee said, no, it wasn't a low blow. And as Ghemmouri's turning his back, holding his groin, he stops the fight and calls it a TKO. When you watch the replay, the actual foot hit the belt line area. Like, let's use an example. Let's say this here. These are the shorts. We're going down to the cup here, right? And then we got the fucking ball sack and protector there. It seemed to hit slightly above it, right? So it definitely hit the upper part of, the pelvis / lower stomach area. It was below the belly button. But what it did was it pushed upwards, which caused a jolt under the sack. So I see how Ghemmouri grabbed low because, there was still a shock on the, the testicles. So my thought process was, I think I would have gave him the 5 minutes. I don't think I would have called that a TKO because it was so close to the line. It moved the cup. It was one of those shots that was borderline, but enough so that I can see a potential impact being felt because it jolted the cup. So I actually thought that fight was going to end up going to a technical decision because we had completed 2 rounds. I thought Gomis would win a technical decision, but no, they said TKO, called it a TKO, not a legit TKO, an uneventful way to win for William Gomis. But let's not forget that he was outstriking a guy who was unbeaten in pure striking sport. This was the best performance of William Gomis' UFC career. He's looking better each time that we see him. Picks apart Ghemmouri. I think that William Gomis is fun to keep an eye on, man. He's a good French fighter, 145 or 2, and he's just 26 years of age. Another young savage, 26. Him and Charriere doing their thing. For Gomis, though, it's 3 UFC wins in a row. And this one was the most dominant of them all against maybe the most credentialed definitely the most credentialed striker of them all. Maybe not the most credentialed fighter, but still striker-wise. So yeah, I was impressed with Gomis outstriking a high-tier striker. Great win for William Gomis. I look forward to the future. I don't think you release Ghemmouri. He'll be back at some point. I'd be interested to watch him work maybe against a debuting guy or someone who's like 0-1 in the UFC, or maybe they use him as an opponent for somebody coming in from Contender Series later in the year. I don't hate that idea either. Up to the UFC, but if I'm the UFC, I'll throw Ghemmouri another one. For Gomis, I'm going to start working him up the ranks a bit, or at least getting him, a slight step up. Because I think that he's potentially ready, but he's also maybe being 26, though. You know what? Maybe their plan is to build him into something. Try to give him lighter touch matchups continuously, as he ages up to 28, where he more hits his, true prime. Next fight on the card, Volkan Oezdemir, Bogdan Guskov. My lock of the week was Volkan Oezdemir, so let's get it. He gets a submission in the first round. I called a finish. Thought it would be a first-round knockout, and he was hurting Guskov on the feet. But instead of KOing him with ground and pound, strangles him up, which I thought was beautiful for Volkan Oezdemir. You know what that sub prop line was? Plus 1,400. So if you don't know the betting side, $100 would have made you $1,400 plus your 100 back. It would have turned it into $1,500. That's crazy, right? Volkan was not expected to win by sub. He's never been known for his submission game. He was technically superior to Guskov, and I felt as though Guskov fought him arrogantly. Hands were low. I know he does that consistently, but I don't think you can go in to take on a top-rated contender and fight with that aura of arrogance that you're running through lesser guys with, and that's why Volkan sitting in there, cracking him with the better shots, is all over him, ripping his legs apart. Did you see how red Guskov, his thigh was for them damn low kicks early? Oezdemir landing the takedown was a beautiful sign. And he got Guskov out with a rear naked choke. It was badass to see Oezdemir get a sub after outstriking Guskov. There was so much hype on Guskov coming in, but I didn't believe it. I thought Oezdemir would be a horrible matchup for him in a debut. The fact that Guskov is reckless with the hands low, that doesn't work well against no-time Volkan Oezdemir, who hits with power and is a skilled fighter and is now training with Khamzat Chimaev and looks like he's adding a wrinkle to his game, which is wrestling and submission threats. Very impressed with Volkan Oezdemir, getting better at nearly 34 years of age. You know I was happy as hell that the lock hit. Let's go. Let's go. All right, let's jump to the next fight. This one was the featured bout of the night. Benoit Saint-Denis versus Thiago Moises. And Benoit Saint-Denis beat his ass. Saint-Denis stayed on him like a motherfucking pit bull, hunting him down, bringing pressure in his face, all over him, attacking, throwing punches, ground and pound, kicks, everything. He did land a couple low blows, which weren't good, but at the end of the day, nothing significant where it, caused a massive impact in the fight. Saint-Denis took Moises down. He was taken down, this being Saint-Denis one time, but Moises unable to do anything. It shows, man, that Saint-Denis grappling game is real. His striking is legit. He was cracking and throwing bombs and being willing to eat damaging shots. He sliced up Moises so bad with an elbow in the first round on the ground. Moises was leaking everywhere. It was a brutal scrap between these two, and Benoit had like the backside position against the cage, throwing ground and pound, and there's nothing that Moises could do. I mean, the referee gave him as many chances as you could, but Benoit had him locked in the spot and landed 20 to 30 fucking shots. It was over. Good stoppage by the referee. Benoit Saint-Denis beat the hell out of Thiago Moises. It was a one-way traffic type of fight between these two. And hey, I'm happy I got to see Benoit Saint-Denis go out there and do his thing. It was good shit, man. Benoit looked solid. I want to actually touch on one thing with the Volkan Oezdemir fight that I forgot to mention. I wanted to talk about who I think's next for Volkan. Am I crazy for thinking we do maybe Volkan versus a Khalil Roundtree? I think that makes some sense. I'd be interested in potentially seeing that. Or do we give him Dustin Jacoby? Either one of those matchups are intriguing for me. I think that they're both bouts that could potentially be next. But Volkan versus Khalil, power versus power, sign me up for that one. That's the one I want. Let's jump to the co-main event of the evening. It was Manon Fiorot versus Rose Namajunas. Fiorot cleanly beat her. Rose did break her pinky in the first round, but doesn't matter. Fiorot's boxing was better. Her movement was off the charts. Her physical strength obviously was an evident factor in the fight. In the clinch, she was stronger than Rose Namajunas. She was unable to be taken down. Rose could not get her to the mat. And Manon Fiorot pulled off the biggest win of her life over the former women's strawweight champion. And she didn't just beat her, she cleanly beat her. She beat her up, touched her with strikes. The blood coming down from Fiorot's forehead, it was brutal. It was from a headbutt. And then after the fight, Fiorot called for the title shot, stopping every Namajunas takedown attempt, bullying her in the clinch, outstriking her. That was a really good win. I know she was the favorite coming in, but I thought Rose Namajunas would be able to close that gap better and take her down potentially too. Manon Fiorot's scary, and like you guys know, if you follow the channel, I like Erin Blanchfield a lot. But that win for Fiorot is going to be hard to deny right now. Blanchfield's still young at like 24, whereas Fiorot 33. I think we might be looking at a Fiorot versus Grasso-Shevchenko winner towards the early portion of 2024, especially Paris, France, building up a star. It could be really interesting, man. Who knows if they go back to Paris early in 2024 as opposed to waiting all the way until September. Because like I said at the beginning of the video, the Paris crowd is off the charts. It's incredible. For me, I'm going to go Fiorot title shot next. And I love Erin Blanchfield, but I got to tell it as I see it. I think that this win over Rose, I don't know, it's just better. It's huge. I know Talia Santos is a monster, and maybe Talia Santos would be a hell matchup for Rose, but the name value of the win here from Manon Fiorot and the potential stardom skyrockets her into a title fight. And then looking at Rose, I feel like she needs to get back down to 115. I don't like her chances against the best of the best at 125. I don't think she wins against the best of the best there. Talia Santos would beat her, I believe, at this weight class. I think she'd struggle a ton with Erin Blanchfield. I think Alexa Grasso at this weight is a hard matchup. I think Valentina, obviously, I think would beat her. So for me, my liking would be, let's get Rose back down to 115 so she can become a title threat again. I think there's matchups to be made there. Could be the Mackenzie Dern, Jessica Andrade winner. A trilogy with Andrade would sell. I'd watch that. I think that could be the fight. The winner of Dern Andrade could potentially be next for Thug Rose Namajunas. That's on my mind at the moment. I think that's a good route to go down, as opposed to, potentially rushing her into, an immediate trilogy with Weili after, 2 losses in a row. No, I think she's got the 2 L's in a row. Drop her back down to 15. Let's do the Dern Andrade winner. That's the fight I want for Rose next. Because I don't think she's done. She's still there. She's still throwing shots back. She's still trying. She still can compete down a weight class against some of the best. But she's just faced off against someone who's one of the best at 125 pounds. And I know I've doubted Manon Fiorot a bit in this matchup. But I see the skill set in front of me, and I recognize that she's a very dangerous woman who's going to give fits to whoever is the champion at 125 pounds, which Shevchenko or Grasso. Love those fights. Thug Rose, get her back down. Get her back down to 115. Let's jump to the main event. If you guys haven't yet, make sure you smash that like button. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. It's Ciryl Gane versus Sergey Spivac. And Gane put on a masterclass. He did. He styled on Sergey Spivac for the fight, the whole damn fight. Spivac could not get a hold of him, was unable to take him down. I thought that Ciryl Gane would be striking most of this fight, and I didn't think it'd be easy for Spivac to get a hold of him because of the fucking speed on the feet of Ciryl Gane. You don't see heavyweights like that. Spivac is taking down and bullying the slower, plodding style heavyweights. I predicted Gane would win, and I thought second round, potentially, first or second. I liked second. And he got it done in the second round. He's outstriking Spivac. He's unable to be taken down. The dude's moving incredibly well and looks like the prospect that everybody always made him out to be. Granted, after he loses to Jon Jones, somehow his stock dropped a ton. And a lot of people really thought Spivac was going to just take him down and bully him. But it shows that Jon Jones is just a one of a kind, and you can't make any mistakes against him, especially at heavyweight. Especially at heavyweight. Ciryl Gane said he wants to go cage side to watch the Stipe Miocic versus Jon Jones fight and potentially challenge next. As much as I'd love it, because I'm a Ciryl Gane fan, Tom Aspinall is probably a fight. Pavlovich is also in the mix too. It's very interesting right now at the top because obviously Jon Jones champ, current top contender who's going to be fighting for the belt, Stipe Miocic. Then we have Tom Aspinall in the top of the mix. We have Sergey Pavlovich in the top of the mix. And we have Ciryl Gane in the top of that mix. And then also we have Jailton Almeida versus Curtis Blades. And with a win, Jailton Almeida is another guy in the top of the mix. Heavyweight is better than it has ever been before. Holy shit, I love today's 2023 hybrid heavyweight division with so many different types of skill sets. It's amazing because the motherfucking heavyweight champ is the baddest on the planet, period. And it's Jon Jones right now. And let's see how long he stays atop. If he gets through Stipe, maybe he does one more defense, maybe none. Maybe he retires. We shall see. But we got a bad motherfucker list at the top. Ciryl Gane was amazing. Beat up Spivac on the feet from the kicks to the legs, to the teeps to the body, to the jabs, to the crosses, to the punches, to the stomach. He's ripping them. Knees up the center to the body that he was landing. Sergey Spivac got bullied towards the end. He was breaking. You could see it. He was hurt bad. He's just covering up towards the cage. Gane's ripping him with different punch combinations, and he looks so intellectual in there, picking his shots. Ciryl Gane's a special fighter, man. And Spivac is covering up, and Gane is dropping these standing hammer fist on him. He's about to go down at the perfect time. The ref jumps in. Spivac was finished with. He had nothing left. He just had a guard up, and he wasn't fully unconscious, but he was out on his feet, and he was pretty much going down, and I think he may have touched the ground at the time of the stoppage. I know he was sitting down immediately after it because Ciryl Gane beat the hell out of him, and he looked, to me, maybe better than ever before. This Ciryl Gane versus Jon Jones, I'm interested in. I wouldn't be a hater of a rematch between those two for the simple fact that Ciryl Gane couldn't even get touched by Spivac. He couldn't even get a hold of him. So, I like Bungamin a lot. I've always been a Bungamin fan. Even though I picked Jones to beat him, I knew Gane was going to be a monster if this fight was striking. And the grappling defense, and I think the potential improvements, but also the fact that he showcased his best form tonight, he's a dangerous MF. And then when you take it to Paris, I think he's even bigger. I love the Paris events, man. Paris is like one of the top fight cities in the fucking world now. They might have I think they have the best crowd in the world now. It used to be Brazil, but now I don't know what happened. England's always pretty badass. Stateside, it's sick in Boston. It's like Boston, Paris, anywhere in the UK. Madison Square Garden's cool too. But yeah, there's something different about the Paris crowd when they have their fighters there representing the country. I loved it. Great win for Ciryl Gane in the main event. He beat up Sergey Spivac, and I think Tom Aspinall's next. For Spivac, we're sending him back down the rankings. How far down? I mean, it depends upon who wins certain matchups. Like if Tuivasa beats Volkov, I think a Spivac versus Volkov fight could potentially happen. Like, if you match up Spivac with more of the slow plotting strikers like the Jairzinho Rosenstrikes of the world, there's a real chance that Spivac just absolutely bullies them. He's struggled the most, lately at least, with the faster heavyweights. Tom Aspinall, who knocked him out, and Ciryl Gane, who knocked him out. Those guys are both very athletic heavyweights with great skill sets. So, yeah, great win for Gane, taking Spivac out. He deserves to be right in that top mix. And I like the Aspinall fight. Let's look at the results. So, overall, I lost 3 fights on the card, and it was only the women's fights. So, it shows the women's MMA coin flip, for fuck's sake, might be more likely at this point. Holy shit. Every men's fight, I went unbeaten. So, in some sense, I feel like I swept the card, but obviously, I know I didn't. I'm not full of shit. 8 wins. 3 losses for the night. I won with Ciryl Gane, called the second round knockout, lost with Rose over Manon, but I did say it would go distance, so that ended up working out. Won with Benoit Saint-Denis over Moises. Won with the lock, Volkan Oezdemir over Bogdan Guskov, and Saint-Denis was in the most confident pick section as well. Won with William Gomis over Yanis Ghemmouri, who I felt post weigh-ins the confidence a lot on. Won with Morgan Charriere over Manolo Zecchini. The Italian took an L. I picked Charriere, but I definitely was in my heart rooting for Zecchini to pull off an upset win. I was going to be okay taking an L there, and no, it wasn't there. Great performance for Charriere. Won with Taylor Lapilus over Loughran. Thought he would win a decision. He did that, and I thought that, honestly, he looked good. Won with Ange Loosa over Rhys McKee. Another one of my most confident picks from the section. Lost with Joselyne Edwards over Nora Cornolle in a women's coin flip fight. But let's be real here. Joselyne Edwards should have got the win, and this turned out to be a good pick. We didn't know a ton about Nora. Now, I guess we know some. She's decent enough to be in a close fight with Joselyne Edwards, but I thought she should have lost it. One with Farid Basharat, a high confidence pick on the card in the most confident pick section from the show This Week's Best MMA Bets earlier in the week. So if you're not watching that every Wednesday, I'm doing that. Farid Basharat looked incredible over Clayton Rodrigues. And then, obviously, the worst underdog call of all time, Zarah Fairn. I take an L with her over Jacqueline Cavalcanti. And, you know, post weigh-ins during that show, you guys saw my lack there of confidence. You can go back and watch the fucking post weigh-in show. Someone in the comments said, AJ, that was your funniest breakdown ever. At the end of it, because I was like, no, I think I'm going to go Cavalcanti's going to take it. I'm going to pick flip. Then I just flipped the coin, and heads was to stay on Fairn, so we did. Women's fight, Jacqueline Cavalcanti did her thing, and I should not have picked the 39-year-old Zarah Fairn. So it is what it is on that L. But I have to fucking look at the positives. There was some huge wins, unbeaten in the most confident pick section, and then also one with the lock of the week. Obviously, the losses with Namajunas as an underdog. I thought she would potentially pull it off, but damn. I'm still grateful, man. I'm happy as fuck about Volkan on the most confident pick section. If you played one of the safer parlays, you would have hit like money on that one too. So things came out beautifully for UFC Paris. I had a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed the live stream. That was a blast. I love being live with my people. It was a fucking great show, man. And a great week overall. I love covering this game, man. So if you guys haven't, make sure you subscribe if you're new. And also, if you don't have your post notifications turned on, turn them on so you don't miss a video. And don't just leave them on personalized. Put them on all so you don't miss a video. You get all my notifications because I'm dropping content every single day of the week. Make sure you smash the likes here. And let me know what you thought of the picks in the comments, of the fight in the comments. And if you have nothing to say in the comments, you support me and you want to boost the algorithm, drop that W in the chat for your boy. Much love, my people. Tomorrow, UFC predictions are going to be dropping. We got a fun card going down next weekend, and I'm looking forward to get into it. So keep your eyes peeled on the channel because the daily content don't stop. Hope you guys enjoyed the recap. Much loves. Enjoy your nights, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace, everybody.